Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Eric Swanson. I'll be your host for the evening. I'm super excited about tonight because guess what's happening tonight on a Friday night? A Friday night, you say? Yes, I say Friday night. Tonight is a Friday night because it's not Monday, it's not Tuesday, it's not Wednesday, it's definitely not Thursday, if you know what I mean. It's Friday. Friday. Everyone's like, what do you mean? I didn't even know what I meant. But the thing is, I'm so excited about this book series. Oh my gosh, look, it's right there. There it is. There, wait, there. All right. So the Principles of Debbie and Goliath. We have a very special treat tonight, you might ask. So if you want to know what the treat is, put in the chat, what's the treat? All right, put it in there, put something in there, say, let me know what the surprise is, because we have some really cool surprises tonight. And I want to check to see if I am alive, but yes, I am. As I always do, I check it out, and my team gives me the thumbs up, and I love that. And here we go. So the authors in this book, if you're thinking about doing this, you should do this. You should share from my screen to your screen, my live to your live, my social to your social. Let's all be social. And I want to bring up Mr. John Kovacs Jr., which is so ironic that I'm bringing two males in a Debbie and Goliath book that's only written by females. But John, what do you say about that? How you doing, John? You're so tiny in the little corner. Let me bring you up full screen. There you go, sir. How are you?
Hey, I just want to say congratulations, and I'm celebrating each one of our amazing authors today in the Principles of Debbie and Goliath series. What a really cool opportunity to bring this to light. I mean, global female empowerment. This topic is so relevant and it's so important, and we need this today. I mean, I think the timing is just divine. There's so much that we need to reach and so many people that need these messages. So congratulations to all of the authors who did an amazing job, who created incredible words of wisdom and shared it with the world. I'm just so proud of each of you. And yeah, that's I'm excited to dive in and to hear from each of our authors and learn from them as they share reasons why that you should grab the book today, and also reasons why you should share this copy with other people. Right now the first two books are available on paperback, and then this book will also be available on paperback soon. But first and foremost, we're just excited for the launch. It's amazing.
Yeah, this launch is just, it really truly is amazing. This is the third book in the series. So we're so excited about this because the Principles of Debbie and Goliath. Look, we came out with a book called The Principles of David and Goliath. No, it's not biblical and all that stuff, spiritual. It's really about harnessing your habits and your attributes to be better, a better you, to your obstacles in life, a better, be the David to your challenges, to your Goliaths that all of us have on a daily basis, right? So that being said, we came out with that a few years ago. Hit number one, of course, all over. Like, people were like, "Oh my God, you're everywhere! It's amazing!" And charts that were like not even made. We made them. That's it. So I'm just kidding. We made number one in hit number one in so many different categories, and we decided, hey, let's do a full on series that's only written by females. Look at all the females in here. 33 amazing female authors, and we have some celebrity authors: Sean Arnold, Laura Langemeyer, Dame Doria Cordova, among many amazing superstars in the leadership roles of our lives. And they've assembled some fantastic, just amazing stories and lessons. And what we did was we asked all of our female authors to write their chapter. Each one, it includes a chapter in here, so about 6, 7, 8 pages of a chapter per person, with stories and triumphs, and here's one right here, and lessons. And we asked each of them to write to let's say their 13-year-old self. Like, what would they say to themselves back when they were 13 or 12 or something? Or write to your daughter or your niece, right? So with the perspective of the female helping young female, the teenager, become successful in life and handle anything that comes their way. It's really cool. So that being said, let's bring on some of our authors. And first we have Maris Siegel, ladies and gentlemen. How are you, Maris? Good to see you. How do you feel?
Oh my gosh, I feel great. And I am so proud of this series, you guys. I am so proud of this series. And especially because, look, my mom was the ultimate empowering mother. She was incredible, as was my grandmother. And I had some amazing, incredible, really mentors in my life. And here's the bottom line about empowerment. This all gets to start inside each of us, right? So we know that there's something inside each of us that gets to be cultivated. And when we can feel good about ourselves, sometimes that comes from how other people see us. We don't always feel that way ourselves initially. So what's really powerful about really stepping into empowerment is that there are all kinds of people in our lives who can empower us. There are men, there are women, there are grandparents, there are parents, there are friends. And bottom line is, when we feel empowered, we can inform, inspire, engage, empower all kinds of people. And it's the greatest gift. And I love being a part of this series because it was also a little bit emotional for me to write in this series, because it was bringing up kind of old wounds for me when I didn't feel like I belonged, when I didn't feel empowered as a kid, and what it took for me to break through that. And so I wrote mine as a little bit of a guide. It's really about a guide to living an empowered life, to how we empower young girls, young women, our teams, our families. And that's why I really love this series and love being around these other authors, because that's also where empowerment comes from. We empower each other when we're in a space to elevate, and we continue to evolve our relationships. That's all about empowerment. So this book gets to be given to as many people as possible. 33 author stories, tips, tools. You only need one book, and then you get to have the whole series, all 3 books, and then you get to keep hearing from the authors. So thrilled, honored to be a part of this series, and really honored to be a part of this book series with you guys, frankly, because this is my 24th book with you, I think. Is it 24? It might be 24.
One per year you've been living? Wow. That's crazy.
Oh, I love you, Eric. I love you, Eric.
That's awesome.
And talk about empowerment.
Yeah. And I'm not sure if many people know, we asked you at the last book signing and one of the Barnes & Noble, I handed you, I got out of my car, I handed you this sword, and you're like, what am I supposed to do with this? And I said, I'm going to throw a sheet, like a silhouette, and just go like this. And this is you. And a lot of people don't know that's you. No, I'm just kidding. That's not you. But wouldn't that be cool? And that being said, we want to bring up Miss Sarah Lee and Tasha Smith, and welcome them to the show as well. Hello, ladies. How are you? You can just unmute both. There you go. Hello.
Great. How are you guys?
Awesome. So Maris, stick around. We're gonna have you interview the 2 of them. In fact, Maris, take it away. Start with Tasha and ask her some really cool questions about what makes a really empowered female thrive in today's market. Go.
Well, I think Eric just asked the question, but Tasha, I think one, that is the question, but also, and how does that relate to your chapter, right? And how you brought your story forward in this series. Please share.
Well, for me, what makes me thrive, I'll say, it started with my family, the village that I grew up in. A lot of women, a lot of wise women who've gone through a lot of things, and their focus in rearing me was to make sure that I was prepared for this crazy world. And so what I got out of it was my family. I come from a family of immigrants. So they went through enormous obstacles to get to where they were at that time, and showing me, I would say, leading by example, not a do as I say, not as I do type of lifestyle. And so with all that, I've always paid attention, even though I didn't want to. But as I'm an adult, it stuck with me. And that's how I live my life. And that's how I train my children. That's how I reared them. And in writing this chapter, it was a little bit difficult at first because I was like, where do I start? How am I going to do this? But then I thought about the story of David and Goliath, and I said, wait a minute, this is my life. This is my life. This is what I've seen. And so I just put my head in that realm, and I went from there, and I pulled on all of the things, the tools that were given to me to grow up to be a respected young woman, and a woman that respects herself, because my standards are high. And I've been told by plenty of people, your standards, you stand, they're up here. It's too much. Not everybody's on that level. And my answer is, well, then I guess you're not for me. Because this is where I am. This is where my head is. And I'm always striving to go up here, never down here. So I don't take the no's for okay, this is how it's gonna be. No, I set my own bar, and I'm always setting it higher and higher. And that's what I expect from the people around me, because that's who's gonna keep you grounded and keep you accountable for your
I love that.
actions.
I love
So
that. I love that. And also, I was just thinking when you said something, I was just thinking that also when you're talking about that and really operating at this higher level, then the empowering of others to rise to that is really remarkable, right? Because then they
yes,
become aspirational, and that sense of, oh, well, I believe in you. So you can do this. And so that empowerment space, I love that you're living kind of at that higher level. It's beautiful, really beautiful.
yes, it feels great. The altitude may give me a migraine every now and then,
Exactly.
but that's what you have a leave for.
I love
I
it.
love it. And I'll jump in real quick and say this. I heard a line the other day. Someone was talking about dancing, and they weren't really like they're not really like like they're very shy, yet they came out of their shell and they were out there and they were dancing and just going crazy. It was awesome, like rejoicing. And someone came up and said, why, no, don't do that. And they said, I'm sorry, I'm not dancing for you. I wasn't dancing for your approval. I was dancing under God, not under you. And I thought that was so cool. It's like kind of what you were saying, Tasha. Like people,
That's
they try to bring you down, or well, do you really need to be way up here? Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not gaining for you. I'm gaining for me, myself, and God. Right? I love that.
that's
So thank you
right.
for sharing that, Tasha. Maris,
You're
who else would you
welcome.
like to interview? Oh my gosh, Sarah
Let's
Lee.
talk to Sarah Lee.
Go ahead.
Hey, Sarah Lee, congratulations. Love being on this journey with you. Tell us about your chapter, a little bit about your perspective and your inspirations around empowerment.
Hi, Maris. It's always great to be here. Always great to be with the Habitude Warrior group. And what were my inspirations? I actually went a little bit like Tasha. I talked about my family and my background and the fact that they were immigrants and how actually challenging it's been for me to be educated in a family that's not educated here in the United States, and how hard it is to be that first one that kind of breaks the mold. And how being that example was really important to me growing up. It was emotionally important to me. It became such a big part of my identity. And not having the support of my family, meaning they didn't not support me, they just didn't really understand my interest in that. Or their concept is, if you have a degree, you must be rich. That kind of idea. I mean, that kind of immigrant family. And it was actually really a struggle for me, and has been a struggle at different times, to feel good about that experience and feel good about myself and continue on that journey when I didn't have direct support or people saying, me too, and I know how you feel, and all these kinds of things. So it turned me into kind of a super server, for lack of a better way of saying it. Serving other people has been a big part of how I've gotten through that, because if I became important to other people by serving them or helping them, that kind of met that emotional requirement. So that's kind of what my chapter's about. And I leads into something which I think is kind of a little bit funny, which is a connection I have with Robert Kiyosaki and how I was on stage with him teaching tax actually one time, and how I got that chance and opportunity, and how prior to that, people in Africa started calling me Rich Mom and in Pakistan. And because I have a presence in different parts of the world as a coach and an advisor, and how I didn't realize why they were calling me that until I started to connect the fact that my life followed a lot of that book in terms of me teaching financial literacy, teaching empowerment, and trying to help people decide, is it more important to have a business or is it more important to have education? And kind of the myth of educated people are rich, which a lot of people think is true in different countries. And that's not necessarily true, right? So that's what I wrote about.
I love that. I love that. It's interesting. So a lot of family inspiration here. So John, and I know that, and I know, look, you're you and Eric is kind of the resident men who have actually come up with the ideas of what these books are. What I love about your sensibilities, both you, John, and Eric, is that you're tuned into the importance of the power of connecting women and connecting young girls. Is really the vision of that has really been what's empowered all of us to do the work. I want you to see that perspective too. And that's from a male perspective. And, that you really, the importance of men empowering young girls and women is really critical. And as tough as my dad was, he kept saying, be true to yourself, to thine own self, be true. I'm looking at myself going, okay, I don't know what that means. Now I know what it means. Right. And so anyway, I just honor you guys in all of this, and it's powerful. And
yeah. In
amazing.
Creating this book series, I mean, Eric definitely thought forward about this, saying like, let's honor women. Let's honor the younger generation. Let's dedicate and share this for the younger generation so that they have resources, mentors, people to look up to, and also a place to go. But this book is as much as it is for men as it is for women, because of the counsel and the leadership and the men who live and raise great women, or the men who treat and honor and respect women all over the world. I mean, it could be a Goliath situation where for a lot of people it's individual, right? Each Goliath story is so unique, but your Goliath, if you're listening to this at home, might be yourself. Your Goliath might be a family member. Your Goliath might be other females. Your Goliath may be a male. Your Goliath might be, and the list goes on and on, but whatever it is, we need to raise a world, a generation. And that's one of the things that I love about this third and final book, is that global female empowerment is about lifting everyone up. And I'm very, very just honored that first of all, we surrounded ourselves with the amazing women who wrote in this book. And I'm also just so grateful too for the leadership that each of you lead in this series. Has just been a compilation of opportunity for everyone to learn how to grow, to overcome their greatest challenges. And so as this became the offspring of the David and Goliath story, Debbie's everywhere, we're calling out to you to change the world, to empower, to lift it up. And it's so cool. So I just wanted to add that. Thank you for what you said, Maris.
Well, I mean, it's true. It's true. And the other thing I was also thinking about this, when we look at empowerment, I think so often people get into a situation and it's like a one and done. Empowerment is ongoing. It's ongoing from the time we're young to the time we continue to grow into our adulthood, empowering ourselves, empowering other people, being empowered. It's daily. It's the choices we make daily to empower each other. And how do we do it, right? We do it by being kind. We do it by being encouraging. We do it by showing people what their gifts are and really bringing them forward. And so I think the idea of empowerment is empower, right? So when we are empowered, we feel in power. We feel strength. And that's what we get to keep calling on all day, every day. And I recognizing what just happened with the election, imagine, a woman who ran a campaign for 6 weeks. Like imagine, what that woman being a vice president no matter how you voted, pretty remarkable that we have, a female vice president who in 6 weeks just stepped into the ring to run for president. Holy cow. If you didn't think she felt empowered, how the heck would she have done it? Right? I mean, remarkable. Because also in that space, it's tough. It could be tough. She was facing a lot of Goliaths. So it's just an interesting time that we get to keep elevating these young women. And no matter what age, we just get to do it because it's what's going to heal the planet. The more we empower young women, the more we will ultimately heal this planet. And every one of us in this book series, as part of your work, it's our commitment. We heard it from both Sarah Lee and Tasha.
Let me ask you a question then. I want to ask all of you except for John. I want to ask all the females in the room. John, you're welcome to join if you really want to. So here's my question. What do you think the biggest challenge that the 13, 14, 15-year-olds are dealing with right now in today's world, today's environment? The 13-year-old female. Okay, so we'll start with first. Maris wants to start first. Go, Maris, and then we'll jump to Sarah.
The phone.
Okay. Right.
Well, and only.
You're having a challenge with that too, Maris. But go ahead.
Only largely because the one-on-one connection, no matter what, I don't care what you're doing in your life, it doesn't matter. And young people today, I'm dealing with it every day, even with my grandkids. Like we get these beautiful texts from them, but pick up the phone, my loves, pick up the phone. I'd love to hear your voice and feel your energy. So I think the guidance for them of that, this is not your best friend. This is a connection as a tool to other connections, but the human connection for them. And I think that's one of the biggest challenges because it impacts self-esteem. It impacts everything for them. So that's my perspective on it, but.
Love it. Okay. So you're suggesting one of the biggest challenges is being attached to the data, to gadgets and so forth. So a little data detox would be a really good idea. Remember back in the day, I just saw a meme or, a photo or something, and it said, it was a photo from the 70s, right? It was a photo of like 6 or 7 different bicycles laying down on the ground, no kickstands, on the front lawn of somebody's house, and the caption was something like, "This is how we knew where everyone was back in the 70s." Right? Now we have to actually, where are you through your text messages and so forth. So,
Speaking of empowerment.
Let's cruise around to the same question for Tasha. Tasha, what is your answer? You looked like you wanted to jump through the screen on that question. So
Yeah.
What is happening with today's 12, 13, 14-year-olds? What are they dealing with, do you believe, in your perspective of what their biggest challenges are right now?
I agree with Maris. The phone, the tablet, the laptop, they need to detox from all this, the social media. And because from what I see, my youngest is 9. So, and I became a Girl Scout troop leader. So what the biggest thing is, can you please put your phone away? Well, you can talk. I'm listening to you. I'm just chatting with my friend. Or you get that flip side. They don't think I look good. And I'm like, who? Who are you talking about? And who cares what they think? You have to be comfortable in your skin. And this is males and females. There's so much cyber bullying, and the young kids are going through so much. And because of the social media, we as the parents in the village, we miss it sometimes because they don't talk. They're going through it all online. So if you are around these young people, you have to do your due diligence and go, let me see what's going on, because they'll smile to you and then go in their bedroom and cry. And it'll be a whole world of trauma that they're going through that The teacher doesn't know, because a lot of parents go, well, you should have known, you should have saw. No, 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 no. It's right there in front of you. The kids are smart. We don't give them enough credit, and they know how to put on that poker face while they're in front of us or that adult. And you don't know what's going on. So for me, it's the detox, because we need to lift our kids up to have self-esteem. It's not all about how many likes you get. Who cares? Who cares? Because you have to look at yourself in the mirror. You can't escape yourself. That's my biggest thing while I was jumping through the screen here, because I'm seeing it every day. So
thank you for sharing that, Tasha. Really appreciate your perspective on that. And that being said, I'm wondering what a Dr. Onika would have to say about this. Hi, Dr. Onika. What's happening? Good to see you.
Hey.
I love it. So the topic, real quick, that we're talking about today is what do you think the biggest challenges or the Goliaths that the female teenager is dealing with? The female teenager, 12, 13, 14. I know 12 is not a teenager. I get it. But what do you think, Dr. Onika? Let's jump over to you. What do you think the biggest challenge is, and what is a way to correct that challenge and help them succeed to the next level?
Right. Wonderful question, and very timely question. And I concur with Tasha, but I think navigating just through life and having that confidence, but having that self-esteem and knowing the difference in the two, because sometimes we would intertwine confidence and self-esteem. And I think our young people need to know that confidence is just being competent in doing something. And when we practice, when we have daily habits,
you have to say that again. Say that again. That was great. Say it again, please.
Okay, so having that confidence is just being competent in what we're doing. And the way we get good at what we do is the repetition, is the commitment, is the daily disciplines, is the daily habits. But then also knowing the difference in self-esteem. How do I feel about myself? And I think one of the biggest problems with our youth is how everybody else sees us. And so we have to get to a point that if I like me, it don't matter if you don't like me. And I know it's bad to say it that way, because we've been taught that we need to be liked, we need to be accepted, and that's a good feeling. But that's only good if it's good, because sometimes we want to be accepted to be a part of cliques, groups, and circles that's really not good for us. And so when we get to a point that we like ourselves, and I had this conversation just recently here on social media where a person asked me, well, why do rich people kill themselves? And I said, because they don't like themselves. Because money can do a lot of things to make us happy. No, money can't make us happy. But at the same time, money can do some great things. And most of the time when we are not happy, it's due to the lack of those resources or the things that it can buy. So our youth, on how we correct it. So the second part of your question is, what could we do to address it? And we already have the answer. We already know the formula. It is those constant affirmations where we are affirming, not beating down when we mess up, but to know that 1, we're not perfect. 2, we're human. 3, we're going to make mistakes, and keep on trying. It doesn't matter about, it doesn't matter that we fall. What matters most is that we don't stay down. So we got to encourage them to say, it's okay. It's okay that you didn't do that on the first try. It's okay that you're not accepted in that group. It's okay that, so let them know that it's okay to not be okay, but to not stay not okay. Work on it. And you work on it by surrounding yourself with individuals like us, reading books like this one and other books that's similar to that, and get into organizations.
I want to jump in and ask you more questions. To interrupt you, I can't believe I'm interrupting a female on a female author Success Summit book launch. So I have more questions. I love what you're saying, Dr. Onika. I love it. and all of our panelists here, except for John, because he's not a female. So I love it though. Competence, that was an amazing quote, I guess, or line that you just brought up to the surface here. Say it again. Competence is when you say the last part again.
Confidence is when you're competent.
Yeah. Okay, great. So would you also agree that, and I'm going back to, there's so much that I want to unfold of what you're talking about. Would you agree that it's not just enough to be confident and competent, but you have to take those and remind yourself that you are confident and competent? Does that make sense? Because a lot of people out there, and we are confident, but we're internalizing it, and sometimes we don't voice that, and then somebody else comes in and says, oh no, you can't do that. Oh no, be quiet. Oh no, go in the, no, you sit down, you go into the back of the room. No, we don't need you to be on stage right now. And then it's almost like we have to step out of our comfort zone, so that, and I'm talking about the teenager female. That's one thing I wanted to bring up. The second thing is, what do you think, and I'd love all of your perspective on this, the word no, is it important, and is it acceptable when somebody's asking you as a female, as a 13-year-old, 14, 15-year-old, 18-year-old, 23-year-old, 29-year-old, right? Like all of you, 29. Is it okay to say, no, that's not for me? No, I don't want to do that. I don't like this peer pressure. I want to beat to my own drum of awesomeness. Can you guys speak into that as well? I'd love you to speak into that. And I know I interrupted you, so I'll start with you, Dr. Onika.
So I would say absolutely yes, it's okay to say no. You have to be comfortable with your yes, because if your yes is forceful, if your yes is not authentic, and I'm not talking about in a disrespectful way, because we're talking about youth, and then we get to the other layers that, we're grown enough to be able to say no. But I'm talking from a perspective of, it's not in alignment with who I am. It's not in alignment to my assignment. It's not in alignment with my purpose. So I don't have to go along to get along. So to answer your question, yes, it is okay to say no.
Okay, that's a book title all in its own, by the way, and I love that. And right before you said that last line, what did you say again? I love you. You're so quotable.
I do not have to go along to get along.
Yeah.
A lot of times, I will say this, a lot of times people will only do things because they feel like they have to. But deep down inside, they want to say no. Everything in them is saying no, except for the verbal no, because they are afraid of the retaliation. They're afraid of the get back. They're afraid of not being so. But you have to be willing to accept that, to say that my no now is not my no for later. So it's okay to say no. Say no if you need to say no. If you're not feeling it, say no.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so I'm just going to go and full screen for 1 second to introduce, if you're just joining us right now, we are talking about the principles of Debbie and Goliath, as you can see over here. It is a awesome, full-blown, amazing 3 books in this series with fantastic authors. There's a bunch of them right there, 33 authors, and all female, from the female's perspective, to teach the female youth on how to be the Debbie to your Goliaths, be the conqueror to your fears and to your challenges that or to your peers sometimes, to say yes to yourself rather than dealing with people deciding for you. So we're interviewing a few of our authors right now in the book series. This book series is a #1 best-selling book series, so please pick up a copy. We put the links in the chats and so forth, and we're sharing this. Feel free to share this, because this is an important book series to teach different success habits And in this case, this one is all about female empowerment. It's written down there, and we are launching today. So we're going to be hitting number 1, I'm sure, in this book later on tonight and tomorrow as well. And join the tribe of awesomeness, please. And give it out as a gift to your niece, give it to your nephew to learn how to treat your niece. How about that? All right. So it's very, very important. So I'm going to bring everyone back on again. And we see some smiley faces. Lorna will come right to you in just a little bit here, but we are in a discussion right now. Same question for each of you. So who has not answered this question? Sarah Lee, did you answer yet? Let's jump over to you. Go ahead, please.
Which question? We've had a couple. Yeah. So I'm gonna talk about what Dr. Onika said for a minute. And I just talked about this on a mastermind the other day about how the Bible says, let your no mean no and your yes mean yes. And I think that's a really important thing to understand yourself. And women need to understand their boundaries and need to be taught boundaries. And I think that's one of the things that's lacking in society today. One of the things that I think I want to address. One of my passions, as you know, is the education system and helping to correct it. And when I say correct it, I just mean that the education system started in San Francisco, ironically where I live, and the public education system did. And it's kind of failing now. It's failing all over the place in the United States, in part, I think, because of social media and because of what the other ladies have mentioned. But I think also in part because women, I just can't get over the fact that they feel like they have to send dirty pictures. Like, that sounds really funny, but that's where my mind went when you asked that question, is that it's not just self-esteem and the convolution of what happens when you think that that's self-esteem and you think you have to do that to get someone to love you or appreciate you. I can't imagine growing up in that environment. I'm horrified by the fact that women think that that's normal, and young men. And it terrifies me. And I think it is related to the things we're talking about. It's related to the images we see, the fact that we don't spend time with kids, that we don't teach them that education can be fun and can be enriching and can help them establish self-esteem and establish boundaries and help them to understand who they are. So that's what I think is most important. If I could leave something to this generation of women, is something that would correct some of that or balance that out a little bit and give them examples. And then, as you know, I also want to teach kids financial literacy, because I think women need to take care of themselves and they need to know how to take care of themselves. Like 78% of women will die single. And we don't talk about that with the society, meaning women as a whole live longer than men. They don't have a husband when they pass. They have to take over their finances, and they have to understand how to do those things. And it's more women work now than men. More women are educated than men. I mean, and we're now also, which I don't want to get political, I know Maris brought about politics, but we're also getting segregated again by men. And we've only had the right to have a bank account for 50 years as a woman. You've only had a right for a bank account for 50 years. You've only had a right to have an LLC or something like that on your own for 50 years. We're not that far away from women becoming property again. And I don't want to be political about that, but I'm just going to say, that's not okay with me. So I think there's a lot at stake in society right now. And there's a lot of needs for people to figure out how to manage their own time and manage their children. And I think there's too many demands on people. And it's difficult. So that's what I have to say about that, Eric.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And thank you for sharing. I appreciate it. And I appreciate you not getting into the politics. You know me, I leave it out. No politics, no religion. I don't preach the religion, and no cursing. Those are the 3 things, my rules. And I appreciate you saying that. And you're right. Look, females have been objectified for years and years and years, and it's still happening. And that's why I'm so happy that you all are contributing to this book series to teach the new generation of females of how to take control, of how to really grow the right way in such a confident and beautiful and successful way. I love that. And You know, our celebrity author in this particular book is Laura Langemeyer, and she always says, it reminds me, a man is not a plan, which I love that. A man is not a plan. So very, very good. Thank you, Sarah, for sharing that. Who has not shared on this? I know Tasha did, Sarah did, and Dr. Onika did. So let's jump over to Lorna. Lorna, welcome to the show. This is the Eric Swanson Loves Female show. All right, it's not called that. Anyway, it's this book series which we're launching today. So if you're looking to grab a awesome book, ladies and gentlemen, then grab this one right now. It launches today, which I believe is November 8th, today, and we are going to hit number 1 in just a little bit. So so please join us in grabbing that. The link is in the bio, or I don't know why I said that. The link is in the link is somewhere right in front of you, I'm sure. And I know we're broadcasting in 3 or 4 different social medias today. So Lorna, talk to us. The question at hand is, what do you think the biggest challenge that young females have today? And let's jump over to the 20-year-olds, 20 to 25-year-olds. What do you think the 20 to 25-year-old females are dealing with right now, staying out of the politics? I mean, I know we're all questioning what the heck's going to happen next, whatever it is, but just in general, what do you think can be a lifelong strategy that a female listening tonight, age group from 20 to 25, because this is, you know, we wrote this, or you all wrote this. No, there's no males in this book, by the way. I'm the only one. I did a introduction, and that's it. So everyone else is a female perspective to the female, to teach them principles to be successful as a female amazing adult. Excuse me. So that question is, you know, we're talking about like from teenager age group to let's dive into 20-year-olds. What do you think the thing is that is the most challenging for that age group right now, females? And how to
good evening, everyone.
Successfully strategize to get the success quotient.
Yeah, thanks for the question, Eric, and good evening, everyone. Excited to be here with y'all. Y'all look great, must say. You look really good. So for me, when you asked that question, the first thing that came up is identity, right? And it's no different than when I was 20 years old, right? So this has been a challenge for going all the way back. Like Sarah Lee said, you know, women have just been given the right to do certain things. That's because we don't have an identity. We haven't embodied. In my chapter in this book is called Embody Your Greatness, right? And so how do we find our identity that's outside of culture, that's outside of politics, that's outside of the church, that's outside of your parents, right? I think the biggest challenge is self-identity. And I think that once we can teach these adolescents, right? What do you call it? There's a word for them. I forgot what it is. That age group, 20 years old, they need to be taught how to be themselves, even among their peers, right? Because that's what's still driving that group, that age group. It's, I gotta be like this one, I gotta be like that one, right? Instead of being who they are, they have to be comfortable within themselves. And even though we're talking about women here tonight, I'll just bring in a conversation that I just recently had with my son about my grandson who is in puberty, right? And he's in an identity crisis right now himself, because he's listening to conversations in school and they're not aligned with his thought process. So now who does he become? Does he become the person who steps into his power and stand for his beliefs? Or does he acquiesce and go along just to get along, Dr. Onika? Right? So it's the same challenge for people, for the young ladies in the age group of 20 to 25 and even older. I can tell you that even the clients that I work with, they still have that same challenge, which is why in my programs, I talk about finding your identity, finding your values, because that's what's going to drive you. That's what's going to take you out of depression. That's what's going to take you to the next level to create impact that we are all here to create. So I think identity is the biggest challenge. And when we get to the root of that, then we'll have some movement. Long answer to your short question.
Hey, John, I just want to jump in. I wanted to jump here a second on something Lorna said, which I think is really important, and that is culture, right? So culture actually, and in culture, look, I come from a Jewish family, and so, you know, how you get raised as a young Jewish woman and where that empowerment and that identity comes from, when you come from a strong faith base, the culture includes your faith, and very often your faith as you're growing creates equal challenge as it does equal growth, because you're always in that space of, where do I fit? Do I fit? I may not believe that. Is it okay that I don't believe that? And so I think the idea of the no, and two things that Lorna said, you know, the culture piece of this is really critical. As young girls, as young women, as young boys, but especially women, as we're talking about girls growing up, as they're growing up in the era, the idea of being able to connect with, what's the identity of your roots, right? To understand that, because that is part of what makes you up in your life. And the learning of saying no is actually just learning to trust that instinct inside that says, no's okay. And I get to own that and surround myself with people who will empower, elevate, evolve, right? So that we're all kind of feeling that. So it's also equally important to teach these young girls to surround themselves with like-hearted, right? And to understand the heart and the head, the difference between both, so that they also feel this empowered space with each other and can also in turn empower inside their family, because that's where a lot of this gets started, is inside the family or community, whatever that family looks like.
Taylor, you didn't get to answer yet. Did you want to answer what your chapter was about and how you feel about female empowerment?
Yeah, hi, thank you so much for asking. Well, I was just adding to one of the chats that identity determines behavior. And if you don't know who you are and whose you are, then everything falls along those lines, where you maybe have limiting beliefs on your identity, on who you're called to be, what your purpose is. And then you end up falling into traps and ruts of self-doubt and disbelief and uncertainty. And that can lead to so many things with fear and unworthiness. And so a lot of what I talk about in my chapter is first determining and getting grounded in your identity, establishing your values. I very much do speak about faith in mind, and unapologetically, because I believe that my identity comes from who I believe in and my creator, and that's God and Jesus Christ. And so I speak a lot about that because I mentor young girls, and I mentor them from the root of their identity first. And then we start talking about the behaviors and really who do they want to become and who are they becoming.
Look, MA's here. That's amazing, Taylor. I agree with you. And we talked about that too. MA, what was your chapter about, hon?
There we go. So I had the distinct honor to recognize a dear friend who just showed me what it means to conquer the giants that are all around. And through her life, through going through having two sons that were hemophiliacs, and being told in the late 50s that they wouldn't live to be much more than 10 years old. And they both lived into their 50s. And that was a tribute in many ways to her perseverance, her learning, her becoming a woman who was able to provide them their shots, and who saw them through decades of just dealing with what they had to deal with when they would have a bleed inside and on joints, etc., and teaching them. And I was blessed to meet the youngest in college, and through him I met Anne, and she is just amazing. And I actually was hoping I would be with her today to possibly introduce. But she's at the assisted living, and I'm out shopping.
Nice. Well, thank you, MA. Really appreciate you being here and sharing that story. So if you're just tuning in right now, grab a copy of The Principles of Debbie and Goliath. It is all female authors, #1 best-selling authors in the series, teaching females how to be better females and conquer this amazing, awesome world that not conquer it, but really succeed in it. So really excited about that. Thank you, MA. Really appreciate you and your perspective as well. And that's awesome. So we are going to be rounding out our show tonight, but we want to make sure that everyone has a chance to jump on and say some final words. Let's start with Maris. Final quick words.
Oh my gosh. Final quick word. Trust. Right? Trust. The first time you learn and know to trust yourself, that's actually self-empowerment. Right? And when someone else trusts us, that's empowerment. So at the core of all this are relationships that connect us to our trust, to ourselves, to our identity, so that we get to be who we get to be in the world.
Beautiful. Thank you very much for saying that. I love it. And let's jump over to Sarah Lee. Sarah Lee, the final thoughts you'd like to share.
My final thoughts are, I love this group of women, and I'm very impressed on how similar our messages are, which means I think we really have a grasp on the solution. We just have to go out there and address it, right? As women and as coaches and as women that can empower younger women through our behavior, our actions, and the things that we do as coaches. So I would also agree, by the way, that identity and self-esteem are very, very much related. And the more we can do to help young women understand, like I said, their boundaries and their ability to say, no, that's not for me, and still have self-esteem, I think that's one of the keys to solving this problem.
Love it. Thank you very much, Sarah Lee. Appreciate that. And for some reason, I'm sharing these comments, but for some reason, it's not identifying who it is. I don't know why. Must be a setting of some sort. But either way, it usually happens. So thank you, Sarah Lee, and thank you, Maris. And we'll jump over to Tasha. Just 60 seconds. What are your final thoughts, Tasha?
First of all, can you hear me?
No, I can.
Okay. First of all, I like to say it was my pleasure to participate in this book series with all of you wonderful ladies. I have learned so much, and I feel that my brain is all over the place. With women, young women, I believe one of the solutions to our problem is to encourage them with, like it has been said before, with self-esteem, confidence, and to learn to figure out our own identity. And it's definitely okay to say no. We don't have to be okay with what everyone else is okay with. It is okay to be ourselves and have our own thoughts. So that's what I'm going to end with. Thank you.
I take it you threw it to me, Eric. You were muted, but that's okay. Perseverance.
Awesome.
Perseverance is the key to everything. Don't take what someone says is a diagnosis as fact, but instead just choose your own path and say, this is what I'm going to make happen, and then make it happen.
I love it. Thank you so much. And I'm now unmuted. Beautiful. Thank you. And thank you, Tasha, for that earlier comment as well. And Mary Alice, thank you so much for sharing that. We'll jump over to Taylor. Taylor, final words.
Hi, everybody. I had talked about identity determining your behavior. I also see, actually, not just women, but men as well. We have the opportunity to carry hope to each and every person that we see, and we shouldn't miss that opportunity. As simple as saying hello, as simple as offering an encouraging word, as simple as smiling at someone, but we really can make a difference in a very small way. And if we are just willing to step outside of ourselves and take a risk and do that, be brave to do that, then we really could change the trajectory of the young women in our lives, those that we love, those that are our children, those that we mentor. We have a great opportunity and a responsibility to do that. And for us that are past this age range, we need to step up. We need to step up and do it. See these young women, see them for the beautiful children that they are, and encourage them, support them in every which way we can. We also can be mentored by others too. And so don't miss the opportunity. Keep learning, keep growing, stay curious, because as long as we have breath, God can still use us, and there is still purpose in our lives.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. We're having a little difficulty on the screen today, but hopefully you can hear me. You might not be able to. Oh, you can hear me. Okay. Can you see me too? Because I am supposed to be full screen, but that's not working now. So
You're frozen.
Sorry.
You're frozen.
Frozen. Awesome. I like that. It's a great Broadway play. Frozen. Okay, so I am frozen. While I'm frozen, let's jump over to Lorna. Would you like to share some final thoughts, Lorna?
Yeah, thank you again for this opportunity to share, to write the chapter in this book, and to be among these amazing ladies. The one thing I would, it's the thing I talk about, right? It's the thing about leading yourself. Listen, when we realize, first of all, that we are all leaders, whether you're a mom, you're an entrepreneur, you're an aunt, you're a grandmother, you are whatever, you are a leader. And embodying that is paramount, because when we can embody that in ourselves and they see that, younger women see that as an example, then that is half the battle. Then they'll learn from us how to lead themselves and be empowered to lead others in their generation. So I think that's super important, that the onus is on us, right? The onus is on us to stand in our power so that we can be examples to the younger generation to be able to stand in their power. Thank you.
Beautifully said. We're definitely having some technical difficulties, but that rounding it out, we need to preach this this situation, and that means Dr. Onika is going to have the final word. Dr. Onika.
Again, thank you so much for being here. And as I listen at everyone contribute, I was just moved in my spirit. So one thing that I will say for our young people and for women overall, seek support. Seek support. So often we hear the phrase, when you see something, say something. But I want to challenge you on tonight, when you feel something, say something. When you're feeling depressed, when you're feeling like you're not enough, when you're feeling left out, when you're feeling alone, say something. Seek support. Seek support. Reach out to someone that you can trust, that you can talk to, that you can gain wisdom from, knowledge from, someone that understands you, someone that will not judge you, but seek support. So my final words is, you are enough just the way you are. And you have individuals that love you the way you are, where you are able to become the woman the person that you want to be. So seek support, and God bless you. Good night.
That's awesome. Take care, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. We're going to keep Dr. Onika's beautiful smile on the screen while we all say goodbye. Goodbye. Have a great night, and share this and go grab the book. And we're going to hit #1, and we're going to help the world. And thank you so much. Take a bow, Dr. Onika. And thank you so much for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. Take care.
Thank you. Good evening.
Have a great weekend.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night,
Night.
everybody.
Thank you, everyone, for being here. Thanks for sharing.